Chinese marionette. You don't understand these things. It is simply court etiquette. Perhaps the post is strong, can't keep it up all day long. If that's your idea, you're wrong. If that's your idea, you're wrong. If you want to know who we are gentlemen of Japan. On bus and jar, on screen and fan, on many, 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 many a jar.
Gentlemen, I pray you tell me where a gentle maiden dwelleth named Yum Yum, the ward of Coco. In pity speak, oh speak, I pray you.
Why, who are you who ask this question?
Oh, God around me, and I'll tell you. A wandering minstrel, I a thing of shreds and patches, of ballad songs and snatches, and dreamy lullaby. My catalogue is long through every passion ranging, and to your humors changing, I tune my supple song. I tune my supple song. Are you in sentimental mood? I'll fly with you. Oh, sorrow, on maiden's coldness do you brood? I'll do so too. Oh, sorrow, sorrow, I'll charm your willing ears with songs of lovers' fears, while sympathetic tears my cheeks bedew. Oh, sorrow, sorrow. But patriotic sentiment is wanted. Like patriotic ballads cut and dry. For where'er our nation's banner may be planted, all other local banners are divine. Our warriors and serried ranks assemble, never quail or they can spirit they do. And I shouldn't be surprised if nations trembled before the mighty troops that drove the terrible.
We shouldn't be surprised if nations tremble with us before the mighty troops of Timbuktu.
If you call for call on the sea, will be the captain run. With a yo-heave-ho for the wind is free. Her anchors a trip and her helms a leap. Hurrah for the homeward bound.
Yo-ho-heave-ho, hurrah for the homeward bound.
They are lost in a howling breeze, may tingle on landman's case. But the happiest are our sailors, since when he is down at the inland town with Nancy on his knees. Yo-ho, and his arm around the waist.
Let's man the capstan and off we go as the windlass swings us round. With a yo-heave-ho and a run below, hurrah for the homeward bound. With a yo-heave-ho and a run below.
year ago, I was a member of the Titipu Town Band. It was my duty to take the cap round for contributions. While discharging this delicate office, I saw Yum Yum. We loved each other at once, but she was betrothed to her guardian, Coco, a cheat tailor, and I saw that my suit was hopeless. Overwhelmed with despair, I quitted the town. Judge of my delight when I heard a month ago that Coco had been condemned to death for flirting. I hurried back at once in hope of finding Yum Yum at liberty to listen to my protestations.
Should I tell him?
Hoi!
It is true that Coco was condemned to death for flirting, but he was reprieved at the last moment and raised to the exalted rank of Lord High Executioner under the following remarkable circumstances. Come, I'll tell you. Gentlemen. Our great Mikado, virtuous man, when he to rule our land began, resolved to try a plan whereby your men might best be steady. So he decreed in words succeed that all who flirted near or winked, unless confusedly or leaving, should forthwith be beheaded, 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 should forthwith be beheaded. And I expect you'll all agree that he was right to so decree, and I am right, and you are right, and all is right as right can be.
And you are right, and we are right, and all is right as right as right can be. And all is right as right can be. Right as right can be.
Come, there's more. This stern decree you'll understand caused great dismay throughout the land, for young and old and shy and old were equally affected. The youth who winked a roving eye or heaved a non-connubial sigh will thereupon condemned to die. He usually objected, objected, objected. He usually objected. And you'll allow us, I expect, that he was right to so object. And I am right, and you are right, and everything is quite correct.
And you are right, and we are right, and everything is quite correct. And everything is quite correct. All is quite correct.
There's yet more. Come, this is the clever part. And so we straight let out on bail a convict from the county jail, whose head was next on some pretext condemned to be mown off, and made him headsman, for we said, who's next to be decapitated cannot cut off another's head until he's cut his own off, his own off, his own off, until he's cut his own off. And we are right, I think you'll say, to argue in this kind of way. And I am right, and you are right, and all is right, to-loo-ra-lay.
And you are right, and we are right, and all is right, to-loo-ra-loo-ra-lay. And I am right, and you are right, and all is right.
Coco, the cheap tailor, Lord High Executioner of Titipu? Why, that's the highest rank a citizen can attain.
It is. Our logical Mikado
Oh, Mikado!
Oh! See no moral difference between the dignified judge who sentences a criminal to die and the industrious mechanic who carries out the sentence has ruled the two offices into one, and every judge is now his own executioner.
But how good of you, for I see that you are a nobleman of the highest rank, to condescend to tell all this to me, a mere strolling minstrel.
Don't mention it. I am, in point of fact, a particularly haughty and exclusive person of pre-Adamite ancestral descent. You will understand this when I tell you I can trace my ancestry back to a primordial, protoplasmal, atomic globule. Consequently, my family pride is inconceivable. I can't help it. I was born sneering. But I struggle hard to overcome this defect. I mortify my pride continually. When all of the great officers of state resigned in a body because they were too proud to serve under an ex-tailor, did I not unhesitatingly accept all their posts at once?
And the salaries attached to them. You did.
It is consequently my degrading duty to serve this upstart ass, First Lord of the Treasury, Lord Chief Justice, Commander-in-Chief, Lord High Admiral, Master Dog, Rufus, Adamsius, me, Archbishop of Titipu, and Lord Mayor, both acting and elect, all rolled into one. And at a salary. A poobah, paid for his services, I, a salaried minion. I do it. It revolts me, but I do it.
And it does you credit.
Oh, but I don't stop at that. I go and dine with middle-class people on reasonable terms. I dance at cheap suburban parties for a moderate fee. I accept refreshment at any hands, however lowly. I also retail state secrets at a very low figure. For instance, any further information about Yum Yum would come under the head of state secret.
Pay up, Al.
Another insult. Oh, and I think a light one.
Yes, indeed. Listen carefully. He's going to catch what it comes.
Young man despair, likewise go to Yum Yum the fair. You must not woo, it will not do. I'm sorry for you, you very imperfect ablutioner. This very day from school, Yum Yum will wend away and homeward come with beat of drum and a rum-tum-tum to where the Lord High Executioner. And the brass will crash and the trumpet spray, and she'll cut a dash on her wedding day. She'll toddle away as all of her with the Lord High Executioner.
And the brass will crash and the trumpet spray, and she'll cut a dash on her wedding day.
She'll toddle away as all of her with the Lord High Executioner. It's a hopeless case, as you may see, so in your face, away I flee, but don't blame me, I'm sorry to be of your pleasure a diminutioner. They'll vow their pact extremely soon. In point of fact, this afternoon, her honeymoon with that buffoon has never commences, so you shun her. And the brass will crash, and the trumpet spray, and she'll cut a dash on her wedding day. She'll toddle away as all of her with the Lord High Executioner.
And the brass will crash and the trumpet spray, and she'll cut a dash on her wedding day.
She'll toddle away as all of her with the Lord High Executioner.
And have I journeyed for a month or nearly to learn that Yum Yum, whom I love so dearly, this day to go is to be united.
The fact appears to be, as you've recited, but here he comes, equipped as suits his station. He'll give you any further information. Behold the Lord High Executioner.
high that you can scale. Saved by long and weary dances, surely never had avail. Under such like circumstances, so adventurous a tale that would rank with most romances. Taken from the county jail.
Taken from the county jail. Liberated then on bail. Surely never had a veil so adventurous a tale. Depart, depart, to the Lord High Executioner. Depart, depart, to the noble Lord, High Executioner. Bow down, to the Lord High Executioner. Depart, depart, to the noble Lord, the High
Gentlemen, I'm much touched by this reception, and that I can only trust that by strict attention to duty I shall ensure a continuance of these favors that will ever be my study to deserve. And if I should ever be called upon to act professionally, I'm happy to think that I shall have no trouble at all in finding all those people whose loss will be a distinct gain to society at large. As someday it may happen that a victim must be found, I've got a little list of society's offenders who might well be underground and who never would be missed. There's those pestilential nuisances who rank on the grass. Of people who have flabby hands and irritating laughs. For children who they rap singing so loud it's more your flat. Or people who went shaking hands, shake hands with you like that. And their fellow teaching Tybo making money and that bitch. I got him on the list. I'm sure he won't be missed.
He's got them on the list. He's got them on the list. And they'll none of them be missed. They'll none of them be missed.
There's the fellow with the cell phone in the irritating flick. And a call that can't be missed. I've got him on the list. And all people who have pages that go beep, 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 beep. I've got them on the list. I'm sure they won't be missed. There's the fellow with his laptop doing business on the can. To think that all that awful junk is made here in Japan. I never lose. And fuzzy dice and fondle when you want to hear the news. And those nasty little Furbies that don't jerk it. I'm sure they won't be missed.
He's got them on the list. He's got them on the list. And they'll none of them be missed. They'll none of them be missed.
There's no telly-belly creatures that have insist.
No!
I'm on the list. I'm sure they won't be missed. The official and his intern who by Kenneth Star was this. They're all three on my list. I know they won't be missed. There's the talk show host who questions with enthusiastic tone. The redneck guests get all upset and threw their chairs are thrown. There's the presidential who on Daddy's name relies. He's so full of you-know-what it seems to brown his eyes. And that ugly purple dinosaurs on every I'm sure he won't be missed.
You may put them on the list. You may put them on the list. Or none of them be missed.
Festivities in connection with my approaching wedding, I think should last a week. Now, I'd like to do it handsomely, and I want to consult you as to the amount that I should spend upon them.
Certainly. In which of my capacities?
I don't know.
As First Lord of the Treasury, Lord Chamberlain, Attorney General, Chancellor of the Exchequer, Privy Purse, or Private Secretary?
Suppose we say Private Secretary.
But speaking as your Private Secretary, I should say this, the city will have to pay for it. Don't stint yourself, do it way all.
Exactly. The city will have to pay for it. Yes, that is your advice.
As Private Secretary, of bound to see that due economy is observed.
Well, you just said just now, don't stick yourself, do it well.
As private secretary,
And now you say due economy must be observed.
as Chancellor of the Exchequer.
Oh, I see. Come over here where the chancellor can't hear us.
Oh?
Now, as my solicitor, how do you advise that I deal with these difficulties?
Oh, as just solicitor, I have no hesitation in saying chances.
Thank you. I will.
If it were not that, as Lord Chief Justice, I am bound to see the law isn't violated.
Right, come over here where the Lord Chief Justice can't hear us. As First Lord of the Treasury.
Of course. As First Lord of the Treasury, I could propose a special vote that would cover all expenses. If it were not then, as leader of the opposition, it would be my duty to resist it tooth and nail. Or, as Paymaster General, I could so put the account that as Lord High Officer, I should never discover the fraud. But then, as Archbishop of Titipu, it would be my duty to denounce my dishonesty and give myself into my own custody as First Commissioner of Police. Boom, boom, ching, ching, there you are.
That's extremely awkward. It's,
I don't say all of these distinguished people couldn't be squared, but it is right to tell you that they wouldn't be sufficiently degraded in their own estimation unless they were insulted with a very considerable bribe.
The matter shall have my careful consideration. Now, look, my bride and her sister's approach. Now, any little compliment on your part, such as an abject grovel,
Grovel?
in a characteristic Japanese attitude, would be esteemed a favor. I just want you to bow.
Three little maids from school are we, perched with a schoolgirl up and me, filled to the brim with girlish glee. Three little maids from school, everything is a source of money. No wife safe, for we care for none. Life is a joke that has just begun. Three little maids from school. Three little maids who all unwary come from a lady's seminary. Three from genius to Tulare. Three little maids from school. Three little maids from school. One little maid is a bright and young. Two little maids in attendance come. Three little maids is the total sum. Three little maids from school. From three little maids take one away. Two little maids remain and they won't have to wait very long, they say. Three little maids from school. Three little maids from school. Three little maids who all unwary come from a lady's seminary. Three from its genius to Tulare. Three little maids from school. Three little maids from school.
My bride, it is to be.
You're not gonna kiss me here in front of all these people, are you?
Yeah, that's the idea.
Seems odd, doesn't it? It's rather peculiar.
Well, I expect it's all right.
Must have a beginning, you know. Well, of course, I don't know anything about this sort of thing, but I have no objection if it's usual.
Oh, yeah, it's quite usual, I think. Lord Chamberlain?
I have known it done.
Why, that's never
Will someone present me, please?
Oh, you said just something name that you don't think it's all I think it's a harmonica. I know.
One at a time, if you please.
If you please, this is the gentleman who used to play so beautifully on the hornpipe. Yes, I think that's the name of the instrument.
Sir, yes. I have the misfortune to love your ward. Yum yum. Oh, I know I deserve your anger.
No, anger, why, not a bit, my boy. Why, I love her myself. She's a charming little thing, isn't she? Ah, nice hair, pretty eyes, taking little thing altogether. You know, I'm glad to know that my opinion is backed by a competent authority. Thank you very much. Goodbye. Take him away.
I beg your pardon, but what is this? Customer come to try on?
Oh, that is a tremendous swell.
Go away! Can't talk to the girl like you. Go away! There's Steve.
Allow me to present football.
goes against the grain. They are not young ladies, they are young persons.
Just make an effort. There's a good nobleman.
Well, I shan't mean it. Howdy-do, little girls. Howdy-do. Oh, my throat is like I see nothing to laugh at. It is very painful for me to have to say, howdy-do, howdy-do, to young persons. I am not in the habit of saying,
Don't laugh at him. You can't help it. He's under treatment for it. They don't like that. You see, they don't understand the delicacy of your position.
we know how delicate it is, don't we?
Yes, I should say we do. Why, how a nobleman of your importance can do it at all is a thing I never shall understand.
So please, sir, we must regret if we have failed in etiquette. To what a matter breaks so high, we shall know better by and by. But use of course must have its blink, so pardon us, so pardon us. And don't in girlhood's happy spring be hard on us, if we're inclined to dance and sing tra-la-la-la-la-la. But youth, of course, must have its spring, so pardon us, and don't in girlhood's happy spring be hard on us. But youth, of course, must have its spring, so pardon us, tra-la-la-la-la-la-la-la, tra-la-la-la-la-la-la, tra-la-la-la-la-la-la, tra-la-la-la-la-la-la-la, tra-la-la-la-la-la-la-la.
I think you ought to recollect you cannot show too much respect toward the highly titled few, but nobody does, and why should you? That you that does should have its swing is hard on us, to our prerogative we cling. So pardon us, if we decline to dance and sing tra-la-la-la-la, tra-la-la-la-la.
But you, of course, must have its swing, so pardon us, and don't in girlhood's happy spring be hard on us. But you, of course, must have its swing, so pardon us, tra-la-la-la-la-la-la-la, tra-la-la-la-la-la-la, tra-la-la-la-la-la-la-la, tra-la-la-la-la-la-la-la,
Yum Yum! At last we are alone. I have sought you night and day for 3 weeks in the belief that your guardian was beheaded, and I find that you're about to be married to him this afternoon.
Alas, yes.
But you do not love him.
Alas, no.
Modified rapture. But why do you not refuse him?
Well, what good would it do? He is my guardian, and he would never let me marry you.
But I would wait until you were of age.
You forget that in Japan, girls do not arrive at the age of discretion until they are 50.
True. From 17 to 49 are considered years of indiscretion.
Besides, a wandering minstrel who plays a wind instrument outside of tea houses is hardly a fitting husband for the ward of the Lord High Executioner.
But, shall I tell her? Yes, she will not betray me. What if it should prove that, after all, I am no musician?
There, I was certain of it directly I heard you play.
What if it should prove that, after all, I am no other than the son of His Majesty, the Mikado?
The son of the Mikado? Yeah, right. The son of the Mikado, you're joking. The son of the Mikado. Oh, Mikado. But why is your highness in disguise? What has your highness done? And will your highness promise never to do it again?
Some years ago, I had the misfortune to captivate Kadishaw. an elderly woman of my father's court. She misconstrued my customary affability into expressions of affection and claimed me in marriage under my father's law. My father, the Lucius Junius Brutus of his race, ordered me to marry her within a week or perish ignominiously on the scaffold. That night I fled his court, and assuming the disguise of a second trombone, I joined the band. Hi, Colin.
Hey, it's good to see you.
Yeah. In which you found me when I had the happiness of seeing you.
If you please, your highness should not sit too near, for the laws against flirting are excessively severe.
But we are quite alone, and nobody can see us.
Still, to flirt is capital.
It is capital.
And we must obey the law.
Deuce take the law.
Oh, I wish it would, but it won't.
Huh. If it were not for that, how happy we might be.
Happy indeed.
If it were not for the law, we should now be sitting side by side. Like that.
Instead of being obliged to sit half a mile up, like that.
We should be gazing into each other's eyes. Like that.
Breathing sighs of unutterable love.
Oh.
Like that.
With our arms round each other's waists. Like that.
Yes, if it wasn't for the law.
If it wasn't for the law.
We could never do anything of the kind.
Not for worlds.
Being engaged to Coco, you know.
Being engaged to Coco. Were you not to Coco plighted, I would say in tender tone, loved one, let us be united, let us be each other's own. I would merge all rank and station, worldly sneers are not to us, and to mark my admiration, I would kiss you fondly thus. I would kiss you fondly thus.
But as I'm engaged to Coco, to embrace you thus in focal would distinctly be no joke, and for that I should be told.
So in spite of all temptation, such a theme I'll not discuss, and on no consideration will I kiss you fondly thus. Will I kiss you fondly thus? Let me make it clear to you, this is what I'll never do. This is what I'll never do. This what I'll never do. I'll never do. Oh, this.
Is what I'll never
There she goes. Ah, to think how completely my future happiness is wrapped up in that tiny little parcel. Hardly seems worthwhile. Oh, matrimony! How dare you! Can't you see I'm soliloquizing? You've interrupted an apostrophe, sir.
I'm sorry, but I am the bearer of a letter from His Majesty the Mikado.
Oh,
Mikado!
Oh.
Mikado?
Oh, Mikado!
Oh.
What in the world could the Mikado?
Oh, Mikado!
Oh.
Have to say to me? Yes, it's from the Mikado.
Oh, Mikado!
Oh.
Will you come with me, my listen up and listen good? I tell you something you need to know. I started to listen. I come in the dance, so you better never know straight. What is that word?
Hostess Ding Dongs on sale at Vaughn's.
Oh, you buy a 5 packs and you get 4 money. You should be reading my people. I tell you one thing about it, Dutch people has the love and kisses Mikado.
Oh, Mikado! Oh!
Here it is. That movement comes sooner or later. It seems that the Mikado is struck by the fact that no executions have taken place in the city of Tiniku in over a year. And he decrees that unless someone is beheaded within a month, that the post of the Lord High Executioner will be abolished and the city will be reduced to the rank of a village.
But that would involve us all in irretrievable ruin.
There's no help for it. We must execute someone at once. The question is, who shall it be?
Well, as unkind as it seems to say so, as you're already under sentence of death for flirting, everything seems to point to you.
What are you talking about? I can't execute myself.
Why not?
Why, in the first place, self-decapitation is extremely difficult, not to say dangerous thing to attempt. And secondly, it's suicide, and suicide is a capital offense.
That is so, no doubt.
We might reserve that point.
Oh, true. We could argue it 6 months hence before the full course.
Besides, I don't think a man could cut his own head off.
Oh, a man might try.
Even if you only succeed in cutting it half off, that would be something.
It would be an earnest of your desire to comply with the imperial will.
On this point, I am adamant. Look, as official headsman, my reputation is at stake. Now, I can't consent to embark on any professional operation unless I see a way fit to a successful result.
Well, this professional conscientiousness of yours is highly creditable to you, but it places us in a very awkward position.
Certainly, your awkward position is grace itself when compared to that of a man in the act of cutting off his own head.
Well, I'm sorry, but unless you can obtain a substitute, then you...
Nothing simpler. Hoover, I appoint you Lord High Substitute.
Oh, substitute!
I at such an appointment would realize my fondest dreams. But no. At any sacrifice, I must set bounds to my insatiable ambition. I am so proud if I allowed my family pride to be my guide. I volunteer to quit this sphere instead of you in a minute or two. But family pride must be denied and set aside and mortified and mortified.
Any bright ideas, Sparky?
My brain teems with endless schemes for good and new for titty poo, body, my feet, no better thing that I can feel the town will lose. Now, every man to aid his guy must plunge and plan as best he can.
I heard one day a gentleman say that criminals who are cut in two can hardly feel the fatal steel, and so are slain without much pain. If this is true, it's jolly for you, your current screw to bid us adieu.
Don't cry.
My brain teems.
I heard one day a gentleman say that criminals who are cut in two can hardly feel the fatal steel, and so are slain without much pain. Instead of you, your current screw to bid us adieu.
Although I'm ready to go, yet recollect what disrespected I neglect to thus affect this same direct. No, I object.
And so, although I wish to go and greatly want to brightly shine and take the line of eagle line to reach our done my love line.
And go and show both friend and foe how much you dare. I'm quite aware, yet I declare it's your affair. I take your share, but I don't much care.
I know.
So I object.
Share, but I don't.
So I object.
Share, but I don't. Share, but I don't.
Sitting on silence in a dull, dark dock, in a pestilential prison with a lifelong lock, awaiting the sensation of a short, sharp shot from a cheap and tippy chopper on a big black box. Who sits in solemn silence in a dull, dark dock, in a pestilential prison with a lifelong lock, awaiting the sensation of a short, sharp shot from a cheap and tippy chopper on a big black box. A dull, dark dock, a lifelong lock, a short, sharp shot, a big black box. Who sits in solemn silence in a pestilential prison and awaiting the sensation of a cheap and tippy chopper on a big black box.
Awaiting the station of a short, sharp jump from a cheap and cheap chopper on a big black top. You see the tall sight, you see the tall dark top. And just those kisses with a light pop pop. Awaiting the station of a short, sharp stop from a cheap and cheap chopper on a big black top. A tall dark top, a light pop pop. A short, sharp stop, a big black top. You see the tall sight, you see the kettle, and you listen and awaiting the station from a cheap and cheap chopper on a big black top.
Appalling. I, who allowed myself to be respited at the last moment, simply to benefit my native town, now condemned to die within a month, led by a man who I've loaded with arms. Is this public gratitude? What are you doing? What? Will I ever be permitted to soliloquize?
Oh, go on, don't mind me.
What are you doing with the rope?
I'm about to terminate an unendurable existence.
Make your existence that nonsense. Why?
Because you're about to marry the girl I adore.
Now stop that. Look, stop that. I'm a humane man, sir, and if you attempt anything of the kind, I shall order your instant arrest. Now you desist, or I'll summon my guard.
That's absurd. If you attempt to raise an alarm, I instantly perform the happy dispatch. With this dagger.
This is horrible. You cold-blooded scoundrel. Are you aware that by taking your own life, you're committing a crime? Which... Oh. Substitute.
What's the matter?
You're absolutely certain you're resolved to die?
Absolutely.
Nothing whatever will shake that resolution.
Nothing.
Threats, prayers, entreaties, all useless?
All. My mind is made up.
Then if you really do mean what you say, and you really are resolved to die, nothing whatever will shake that determination, well, then don't spoil yourself by committing suicide. Be beheaded handsomely at the hands of the public executioner.
I don't see how that would benefit me.
You don't? Listen, you'll have a month to live. No, yeah, a month. And you'll live like a fighting cock at my expense. Yes, then when the day comes, there'll be a grand public ceremonial. You'll be that central figure. No one will try to deprive you of that distinction. Yes, there'll be a grand procession. There'll be dead march. There'll be bells tolling. There'll be all the girls in tears, the young distracted. And then when it's all over, there'll be general rejoicings and a fireworks display. In the evening, of course, you won't see them. They'll be there all the same.
Do you think Yum Yum would really be distracted at my death?
Good, sir, I'm most convinced of it. Why, she's the most tender-hearted little creature alive.
Oh, I should be sorry to cause her pain. Perhaps, after all, if I were to withdraw from Japan and travel in Europe for a couple of years, I might contrive to forget her.
No. I don't think you could forget Yum Yum so easily. Besides, what's more miserable than a love-blighted life?
True.
Why, life without Yum Yum seems absurd.
And yet there are a good many people in the world who have to endure it.
Poor devils. Well, you're good not to be of their number.
Ooh, I won't be of their number.
Noble fellow!
I'll tell you how we'll manage it. Let me marry Yum Yum tomorrow, and in a month you may behead me.
No. I draw the line at Yum Yum.
Oh, very good. If you can draw the line, so can I.
Stop that. Stop. Come on. Be reasonable. How can I consent to you marrying Yum Yum if I'm going to marry her myself?
My good friend, she'll be a widow in a month, and you can marry her then.
Yes, but you see, my position then for the next month would be most unpleasant. Most unpleasant.
Not half so unpleasant as my position at the end of it.
Well, all right. I agree. After all, it's only putting my wedding off a month. But you will prejudice her against me because I've educated her to be my wife and taught her to consider me a wise and a good man. I don't want her views on that point distracted.
Trust me, she shall never learn the truth from me.
empty compliment to cry, long life to Negative. But as 1 month you have to live as fellow citizen, this toast with 3 times 3 will give long life.
we. On this subject I pray you be dumb. You'll find there are many who'll wed for a penny. The word for your guidance is mum. There's lots of good fish in the sea. On this subject we pray you be dumb. We think you had better succumb. You'll find there are many who wed for a penny. There are lots of good fish in the sea. There are lots of good fish in the sea. There's lots of good fish in the sea. There's lots of good fish in the sea. In the sea, in the sea, in the sea, in the sea, in the sea. Oh, faithless one, this insult you shall rue. In vain for mercy, on your knees you'll sue. I'll tear the mask from your disguising.
Now comes the Lord.
Prepare yourselves for new surprising.
How foil my goal.
No minstrel he, despite bravado. I know he is the son of your. We are not listening. In vain you interrupt with this tornado. He is the only son.
No,
of
please.
your. Listening. I'll spoil. No, we are not listening. Your king Mikado, he is the son. We are not listening. Of your.
We are not listening.
The son of your.
We are not listening.
Ye torrents roar, ye tempests howl, your wrath outpour with angry breath. Do ye your worst find and do strong to rise triumphant over all? We'll hear no more ill omen down to join me sword despite yourself. The echoes of our festival shall rise triumphant over all. Prepare for woe, ye haughty lords, away I go, Mikado ward. Away you go, command your horse, proclaim your woe in dismal courts. We do not heed their dismal sound,
For joy reigns everywhere around.
we do not heed their dismal sound, for joy reigns everywhere around. Hear the call, and let us get out, till joy we sow, despite your scout.
Shall I try?
That's time for intermission. Time for you to go back to bar, get lots of food. Go outside and do smoky smoke. Come hurry back for second act of play and a special giveaway for a trip to town. Ladies and gentlemen, enjoy the second act of Mikado.
vast eye, let it brim with dew. Try if you can cry, we will do so too. When you're summoned, start like a frightened roe. Flutter, little heart, color come and go. Modesty at marriage tide well becomes a pretty bride. Modesty at marriage tide well becomes a pretty bride. Break the raven hair, weave the supple tress, deck the maiden fair in her lovely dress. Make the pretty face, dye the coral lip, emphasize the grace of her ladyship. Art and nature, thus alike, go to make a pretty bride. Art and nature, thus alike, go to make a pretty bride. I am indeed beautiful. Sometimes I sit and wonder, in my artless Japanese way, why it is that I am so much more attractive than anyone else in the whole world. Could this be vanity? No. Nature is lovely and rejoices in her loveliness. I am a child of nature and take after my mother. The sun whose rays are all ablaze with ever-living glory does not deny his majesty. He scorns to tell a story. He won't exclaim, I blush for shame, so kindly be indulgent. is, in its way, a drawback. It does seem to take the top off it, you know?
Not necessarily. It all depends. At all events, he will find it a drawback.
Not necessarily. Bless you, it all depends.
I find it very indecent that the two of you would bring up such a subject on such a day. If my married happiness is to be cut short,
Cut short. Can't you just let me forget about it?
well, what's the matter with you? It's not funny.
Yum Yum in tears? And on her wedding morn?
They've been reminding me that you are to be beheaded in a month.
Well, yes, we've been reminding her that you are to be beheaded in a month. Quite true, you are to be beheaded.
Now, some bridegrooms would be depressed by this sort of thing. A month? Well, what's a month? Bah, bah. These divisions of time are purely arbitrary. Who says 24 hours make a day?
Well, there's popular impression to that effect.
Then we'll face it. We'll call each second a minute, each minute an hour, each hour a day, and each day a year. At that rate, we've about 30 years of married happiness before us.
And at that rate, this interview has already lasted us 4 hours and 3/4. It's time for tea! Yes, how time flies when one is thoroughly enjoying oneself.
That's the way to look at it. Let's don't be downhearted. There's a silver lining to every cloud.
Yes, let's just be perfectly happy. By all means, let's thoroughly enjoy ourselves. It's absurd to cry. Quite ridiculous. Oh, come on, guys. You were crying. You were crying. You were crying.
I don't want to die.
Oh, no, go on. Don't mind me.
I'm afraid we're distressing you.
Never mind that. I've got to learn to get used to it, but please do it by degrees. Right? Just, begin by putting your arm around her waist and let me get used to that.
Are you sure you wouldn't like to retire? It must pain you to see us so affectionate together.
Got to learn to bear it. Now oblige me by allowing her to rest her head on your shoulder.
Like that?
Oh, yes, thank you. Much obliged to you. Now, kiss her. Thank you. Oh, shit, torture.
It's time for tea.
Come, bear up. After all, it's only for a month.
No, it's no use deluding oneself with false hopes.
What do you mean?
My little child, my poor little child, how shall I break it to her? My little bride it was to have been.
Was to have been.
Yes, it can never be mine.
What?
I'm so glad.
I've just ascertained that by Mikado's law, that when a married man is beheaded, his wife must be buried alive.
Buried alive.
Buried alive. It's a most unpleasant death.
But whom did you get that from?
From Puma, he's my solicitor.
He might be mistaken, right?
I thought so. I consulted the Attorney General, the Lord Chief Justice, and answered the rules. All her same opinion, I never knew such unanimity on a point of law in my life.
But stop it! This law has never been put in force.
Not yet. You see, flirting is the only crime that's punishable by decapitation, and married men never flirt.
Of course they don't. I quite forgot that. Well, I suppose I may take it that my dream of happiness is at an end.
Darling,
Yes.
I don't want to appear selfish and... Oh, I love you with all my heart. I don't think I shall ever love another half as much. But when I agreed to marry you, my own, I didn't realize, pet, that I was to be buried alive within a month.
Nor I. It's the very first I've heard of it.
It does make a difference, doesn't it?
It does make a difference, of course.
It's just that burial alive is just a stuffing death.
I call it a beast of a death.
Oh, you do seem to have difficulty, don't you?
Yes. and I see my own. If I insist on your carrying out your promise, I doom you to a hideous death. If I release you, you marry Coco at once.
Here's a howdy-do, if I marry you. When your time has come to perish, then the maiden whom you cherish must be slaughtered too. Here's a howdy-do, here's a howdy-do.
Here's the state of things. To her life she clings. Matrimonial devotion doesn't seem to suit her notion. Burial and praise. Here's the state of things. Here's the state of things.
Here's a pretty mess, in a month or less. I must die without a wedding. Let the bitter tears I'm shedding witness my distress. Here's a pretty mess, here's a pretty mess.
Boy and babe,
with no passing message, since I worship and adore. But the laws and promises I oughtn't to ignore. If what he says is true, 'tis dead to marry you. Here's a pretty state of things, here's a pretty howdy-do. Here's a pretty state of things, a pretty state of things.
here's a howdy-do.
Here's a howdy-do.
Here's a howdy-do.
For if what he says is true, I cannot marry you. Here's a pretty, pretty state of things. Here's a pretty howdy-do.
My poor boy, I really am very sorry for you.
Thanks, old fellow. I'm sure you are.
As you can see, I really am quite helpless.
I quite see that.
It's time for tea!
I can think of nothing more distressing than to have one's own wedding cut off. Sorry. Broken off at the last moment. But you won't be disappointed in a wedding. You can come to mine.
Oh, it's awfully kind of you, but that's impossible.
How so?
Today, I die.
What do you mean?
I can't live without Yum Yum. This afternoon, I perform the happy dispatch. Gensu!
Jimmy, don't do that. Stop that. That's enough. I don't want you to...
Nintendo! PlayStation!
The other ones. You've got two more. Godzilla, Toyota. Come on. I won't allow it.
Why not?
And hang it all. You're under contract to die by the hand of the public executioner. In a month's time now, if you kill yourself, what's to become of me? I'll have to be executed in your place.
Oh, it would certainly seem so.
What is that? What is it?
Oh, the Mikado and his suite are approaching the city and will be here in 10 minutes.
Mikado! He's obviously come to find out whether I've carried out his orders or not. Now listen, this is getting serious. Now look, a bargain is a bargain. Now, you mustn't frustrate the ends of justice by committing suicide. Now, as a humane man, as an honorable man, as a gentleman, you must die ignominiously by the hands of the public executioner.
Very well then, behead me.
What now?
Certainly at once.
Chop it off! Chop it off!
I don't go about prepared to cut a man's head off at a moment's notice. Look, I've never killed a blue bottle.
Still, it's Lord High Executioner.
As Lord High Executioner, I'm to behead him in a month.
Oh, but he's...
I'm not ready yet. I don't know how it's done.
Huh?
I mean to take lessons.
Oh!
I'm gonna start with a guinea pig, and then chomp my way through the animal kingdom till I come to a second trombone. You don't think that as a humane man I would have accepted the post of Lord High Executioner if I didn't think the duty's purely nominal? I can't kill him. I can't kill you. I can't kill anything. I lose it. I think I'm gonna jump.
No!
I'm coming over it. I'm doing nothing.
Come, poor fellow. We all have unpleasant duties to discharge at times. After all, what is it? If I mind wise adieu. Oh, remember, sooner or later it must be done.
Must it? I'm not so sure about that.
What do you mean?
Why should I kill you when making an affidavit saying you've been executed will do just as good? I've got plenty of witnesses. The Lord High Admiral, the Lord Chief Justice, the Master of the Rolls, the Secretary of State for the Home Department, the Chief Commissioner of the Police.
But where are they?
They're right there, and they're willing to swear by it, aren't you?
Am I to understand that all of us high officers of state are required to perjure ourselves to ensure your safety?
Why not? You'll be grossly insulted as usual.
Will the insult be cashed down or at a date?
It'll be a ready money transaction.
Well, this will be a useful discipline, huh? Very good. Choose your fiction and I'll endorse it. Family pride. How do you like that, my buck?
But I tell you that life without Yum Yum is just...
Yum, bother Yum Yum. Commissioner, go fetch Yum Yum. Look, you take Yum Yum, all right? You marry Yum Yum. You go away, you never come back. Oh, here she is now. Yum Yum, are you particularly busy?
Not particularly.
You have 5 minutes to spare then.
Yes.
All right, then go with His Grace, the Archbishop of Titipu, and he will marry you at once.
But if I'm to be buried alive...
Well, don't ask me any questions. Just go along and make people tell you all.
One moment.
Don't worry.
Mary! Mary! No! Mary!
Wait, so Jimmy, here he comes! Calm down!
From every kind of man obedience I expect, and the emperor not just man.
Diamonds are rainbow elect. He'll marry his son. He's only got one to his daughter-in-law elect.
My morals have been declared particularly correct.
But there's nothing at all compared with those of his daughter-in-law elect. Wow, wow, his daughter-in-law elect. Wow, wow, his daughter-in-law elect.
In a fatherly kind of way, I govern each tribe and sect, all cheerfully own my sway.
Except his daughter-in-law elect. As tough as a boat with the wheel on the road is his daughter-in-law elect.
My nature is love and light, my freedom from all defect.
His insignificance quite compared with his daughter-in-law elect. Wow, wow, to his daughter-in-law elect. Wow, wow, to his daughter-in-law elect.
A more humane Mikado never did in Japan exist. Nobody's second, I'd certainly rank the true philanthropist. It is my very humane endeavor to make to some extent each evil liver a running river of harmless merriment. My object all sublime, I shall achieve in time, to let the punishment fit the crime, the punishment fit the crime, and make each prisoner pent, unwillingly represent a source of innocent merriment, of innocent merriment. All snotty, dull society women who chatter and bleat and bore are sent to hear sermons by mystical Germans on how to mop a floor. The amateur singer whose vocal villainy is all desire to shirk shall during off hours sing naked in showers in front of his cronies from work. And the lady who tans to a chemical yellow and stains her gray hair blue, her skin shall be tinted and thereon imprinted a pseudonym tattoo. All youngsters who wear long baggy trousers way down low on their behind shall be forced to dance in some very tight pants till skateboarding is forced from their minds. My optic all sublime, I shall achieve in time to let the punishment fit the crime, the punishment fit the crime, and make each prisoner pent, unwillingly represent a source of innocent merriment, of innocent merriment.
Let the punishment fit the crime, the punishment fit the crime, and make each prisoner pent, unwillingly represent a source of innocent merriment, of innocent merriment.
The advertising quack who wears with tales of countless cures, his teeth I've enacted shall all be extracted by terrified amateurs. The rock and roll tinger attends a series of operas and musicals too. Twist Rogers and Hammerstein, Gizeh and Wagner would beat quite a war to lose. The billiard shark who anyone catches his dunes extremely hard. He's made to dwell in a dungeon cell in a spot that's always barred. And there he plays extravagant matches and fingerless finger stalls on a cloth untrue with a twisted cue and elliptical billiard balls. My object all sublime, I shall achieve in time to let the punishment fit the crime, the punishment fit the crime, and make each prisoner pent, unwillingly represent a source of innocent merriment, of innocent merriment.
His object all sublime, he will achieve in time to let the punishment fit the crime, the punishment fit the crime, and make each prisoner pent, unwillingly represent a source of innocent merriment, of innocent merriment.
I am honored in being permitted to welcome Your Majesty, and I guess the object of Your Majesty's visit, Your Majesty's wishes have been attended to. The execution has taken place.
Oh, you've had an execution, have you? Oh, goody, 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 goody.
The coroner has just handed me the certificate.
I am the coroner.
This is the certificate of his death, I see. Ha ha! At Titipu, in the presence of the Lord Chancellor, the Lord Chief Justice, Attorney General, Secretary of State for the Home Department, Lord Mayor, and groom of the second floor front stairs.
They were all present, Your Majesty. I counted them myself.
A very good house. I really wish I had been here in time to see the performance.
He was a huge fellow. A man of gigantic strength. His struggles were terrific. It was a remarkable scene.
Describe it.
The criminal cried as he dropped him down in a state of wild alarm. With a fearful, frantic, frightful frown, I bared my big right arm. I grabbed him by his little pigtail, and on his knees fell he. As he squirmed and struggled and gurgled and gargled, I drew my snake on a sneeze.
Oh, the snake sneeze.
My snake on a sneeze. Oh, never shall I forget the cry of the shriek that shrieked at me. When I gnashed my teeth and from its sheath, I drew my snake on a sneeze.
You know it well, he cannot tell what true or groundless tale. He always tries to utter lies, and every time he fails.
Well, you're out there now. Say something.
He shivered and shook as he gave the sign, the full stroke he didn't deserve. When all of a sudden his eye met mine, and it seemed
was dead, for its owner dead was he. It stood on its neck with a smile well bred, and bowed 3 times to me. It was none of your impudent offhand not, but as humble as could be. For it clearly knew the deference due a man of pedigree. Of pedigree. And its oath, I vowed, that death he vowed was a taunting sight to see. For troubles yet it couldn't forget the deference due to me.
And this word he used, he speaks the truth whenever he finds his page. And in this case, he holds his place exactly as he says, exactly as he says.
This is all very interesting, and I do wish we had been here in time to see it, but we came about a totally different matter. Huh? You see, a year ago, my son, the heir apparent to the throne of Japan, bolted from our imperial court.
Indeed, had he any reason to be dissatisfied with his position?
None whatever. On the contrary, I was going to marry him, yet he fled.
I was surprised he fled from one so lovely.
That's not true.
Milk!
You hold that I am not beautiful because my face is plain. But you know nothing. You are still unenlightened. Learn, then, that it is not in the face alone that beauty is to be sought. My face is unattractive.
It is.
But I have a left shoulder blade that is a miracle of loveliness. People come miles to see it. My right elbow has a fascination few can resist.
Allow me?
It's on view Tuesdays and Fridays on presentation of visiting card. As for my circulation, it is the largest in the world.
And yet he fled.
He is currently masquerading in this town, disguised as a second trombone.
A second trombone?
Yes, would it be asking you too much to ask you to produce him? He goes by the name of...
Nanky Poo!
Nanky Poo.
Your Majesty, you see, it's really quite simple.
Oh, ow!
It's, in point of fact, it's very difficult.
Hey.
See, Nanky Poo, he's gone.
Gone?
He's gone over there.
Okay.
He's frolicking. He's a frolicking little fairy now. He's gone off that way. That's what he's done.
Aha!
Oh, hi.
He's gone abroad.
Abroad. His address.
Tehachapi.
What is it? What is it? Center, cheese, center, cheese. Blow on my finger. Is that right? Dear. This is most distressing. You see, in your anxiety to carry out my wishes, you have beheaded the heir to the throne of Japan.
I beg to offer an unqualified apology.
I would like to associate myself with that expression of regret.
I really hadn't the least notion.
Of course you hadn't. How could you know? But if a man of exalted rank chooses to disguise himself as a second trombone, he must be prepared to face the consequences. It really does distress me to see you carry on so. I'm sure that he thoroughly deserved all he got.
Well, we're infinitely obliged to your Majesty.
Much obliged, Your Majesty.
Very much obliged, Your Majesty.
Obliged? Oh, not at all. Don't mention it. I mean, how could you tell?
No, of course, there was no possible way we could have told who the gentleman really was.
I mean, it wasn't written on his forehead, you know.
Yeah, it could have been on his American Express
compassing the death of the heir apparent.
Punishment?
Yes, it's something to do with boiling oil. I think boiling oil occurs in it somewhere. It's either boiling oil or melted lead. At any rate, it's something amusing. Don't you fret. I'm not the least bit angry.
If Your Majesty would permit, we really had no idea.
I knew nothing about it.
I wasn't there!
You see, that's the problem with this act. It just says compassing the death of the heir apparent. There's not a word in it about a mistake,
No.
or not knowing, or having no notion,
No.
or not being there.
No.
It should,
Yes.
but it doesn't.
Oh.
That's just the slovenly way in which these acts are always drawn up. But don't you fret. I shall have it altered next session. Now, as for your executions, will after luncheon suit you? Can you wait till then?
Yes, we can wait till then.
Well, good. We'll execute you after lunch then.
I love you, lunch.
I'm terribly sorry, but it is an unjust world. And virtue is only triumphant in theatrical performances.
Oh, it's a fine mess you've gotten us into. With your nodding head and your difference due to a man of pedigree.
Merely corroborative detail intended to give artistic verisimilitude to an otherwise false and unconvincing narrative.
Corroborative detail indeed. Corroborative fiddlestick.
You're just as bad as he with your cock and bull stories about your catching his eye and whistling in air. Oh, but that's just not like you. Always putting in your oar. Always talking.
Give me that. But how about your big ride-off?
Yeah, and your snickersnee.
It's a nice Snickersnee.
But
No, it isn't right.
What has to be done, Naked Boo? He hasn't left yet. We must make Naked Boo come back to life at once. Oh, Naked Boo! Good news! You've been reprieved.
Oh, but it's too late. I'm a dead man and I'm off for my honeymoon.
Something terrible has happened. It seems that you're the son of the Mikado.
Holy
Mikado.
cow.
Yes, but that happened some time ago.
Is this any time for airy personal affliction? Listen, your father is here, and with Gadishaw.
My father? Oh, and with Cadishaw.
Wants to see you particularly.
No, and so does she.
But when he's married now.
My dear, what difference does that make?
Cadishaw claims me in marriage, but I can't marry her because I'm married already. Consequently, she will insist on my execution. And if I'm executed, my wife will have to be buried alive.
No. You do see our difficulty, don't you?
Yes, but I don't know what's to be done.
Ooh, there's one chance for you. If you could persuade Cadishaw to marry you, she would have no further claim on me. And in that case, I could come to life without any fear of being put to death.
I'm married.
No, don't say it.
Oh, I think it's the only course now.
Have you seen her? She's really quite appalling.
But that's only her face. She has a left elbow. People come miles to see.
And I am told her right heel is much admired by connoisseurs.
Sir, I'm not about to pin my love on any woman's right heel.
It comes to this. While Cadishaw is single, I prefer to be a disembodied spirit. When Cadishaw is married, existence will be as welcome as the flowers in spring. You like songs, the flowers that bloom in the spring, tra-la, bring promise of merry sunshine. As we merrily dance and we sing, tra-la, we welcome the hope that they bring, tra-la, of a summer of roses and wine, of a summer of roses and wine. And that's what we mean when we say that the thing is welcome as flowers that bloom in the spring. Tra-la-la-la-la, tra-la-la-la-la, the flowers that bloom in the spring.
The flowers that bloom in the spring, tra-la, have nothing to do with the case. I've got to take under my wing, tra-la, a most unattractive old thing, tra-la, with a caricature of a face, with a caricature of a face. that as I mean when I say or I sing. Oh, bother the flowers and blooming dusty. Oh, bother the flowers of spring.
I hate on singing. Here we go. I'm not singing, and you're singing. You're witness.
It's better than that. We should get out of here quickly.
What was that?
Look at the ripples.
I'm kidding.
No, please. No.
I'm getting closer. Run.
Alone and yet alive. Oh, sepulchre, my soul is still my body's prisoner. Remote the peace that death alone can give. My doom to wait, my punishment to live. Hearts do not break, they sting and ache, for old love's sake, but do not die. Oh, if betrayal, they will forget, as witnesseth the living eye, the living eye. Oh, living eye, come tell me why, when hope is gone, dost thou stay on? Why linger here where all is drear? Oh,
Kennesaw!
The miscreant who robbed me of my love! But vengeance pursues, they are heating the cauldron.
Kennesaw, behold, a suppliant at your feet. Mercy! Mercy!
Mercy! Had you mercy on him? See here, you have slain my love. He did not love me, but he would have loved me in time. I am an acquired taste. Only the educated palate can appreciate me. I was educating his palate when he left me. Well, he is dead, and now where shall I find another? It takes years to train a man to love me. Am I to go through the weary round again? At the same time, I want mercy for you who robbed me of my prey. I mean, my pupil. Just when his education was on the point of completion, where shall I find another?
Here. Here.
What?
Oh, Cadshaw. For years, I've loved you with a white-hot passion. And slowly but surely, consuming my very vitals, turn not away from a love-sick loveling whose every fiber thrills at your tiniest touch. Truly it's that under... Oh, don't do that. Under a poor mask of disgust, I have endeavored to conceal a passion that's interflamed, is blowing, it's broiling my inner soul within me, and the flames cannot be smothered. They defy all attempts at extinction, and breaking forth all the more eagerly for long restraint, they declare themselves in words that cannot be weighed, cannot be schooled, that should not be too severely criticized. Oh, Gadishaw, I dare not hope for your love, but I will not live without it. Darling.
You, whose hands still reek of the blood of my betrothed, yes, the practical woman, you are so foully wrong.
Yes, accept my love, or I shall perish on the spot.
Go to. Who knows as well as I that no one ever yet died of a broken heart?
No, you know not what you say. Listen! On a tree by the river, a little tom tit sang willow, tit willow, tit willow. And I said to him, Digger, why do you sit crying willow, tit willow, tit willow? Is it weakness of intellect, Bertie, I cried, or a rather tough worm in your little inside? With a shake of his poor little head, he replied, oh, willow, tit willow, tit willow. He slapped at his chest as he sat on that bough, cried willow, tit willow, tit willow, and a cold perspiration bespangled his brow. Oh, willow, tit willow, tit willow. He sobbed and he sighed, and a gurgle he gave, then he plunged himself into a billowy wave, and an echo rose from the suicide's grave. Oh, now I feel just as sure that I'm sure that my name isn't Willow, tit willow, tit willow. It was plenty of pensions that made him exclaim, oh, willow, tit willow, tit willow. And if you remain callous and obdurate, I will perish as he did, and you will know why. Though I probably shall not exclaim as I die. Oh, willow, tit willow.
Did he really die of love?
Yes, he really did.
All on account of a cruel little hen?
Yes.
Oh, poor little chap.
It's an affecting tale and quite true. I knew the bird intimately.
Oh, did you? He must have been very fond of her.
Yes, his devotion was something extraordinary.
Poor little chap. And if I refuse you, you will go and do the same?
At once.
No, you mustn't do anything but that. Oh, I'm a silly little goose.
Yes, you are.
And you won't hate me because I'm just a teeny weeny wee bit bloodthirsty.
Oh, no. Catshaw, Isn't there even beauty in bloodthirstiness?
My idea exactly. There is beauty in the ballad of the blues. There is grandeur in the growling of the gale. There is eloquence and bolding when the lion is a roaring and the tiger is the lashing of his tail.
Yes, I love to see the tiger in the Congo or the Niger, and especially when he's lashing at his tail.
Volcanoes have a splendor that is grim, and earthquakes only terrify the dudes. But to him who's scientific, there is nothing that's terrific in the falling of a flight of thunderbolts.
Yes, in spite of all my meekness, if I have a little weakness, it's a passion for a flight of thunderbolts.
Everybody so sing dairy down, dairy accepted, merry on taste on one. Away we go and merrily, merry on totally, terror till the day is done.
Information I'm requesting on a subject interesting is a maiden all the better when she's tough.
Throughout this white dominion, it's a general opinion that she'll last a good deal longer when she's tough.
Are you old enough to marry, do you think? Won't you wait until you're 80 in the shade? There's a fascination frantic in a ruin that's romantic. Do you think you are sufficiently decayed?
To the matter that you mentioned, I have given some attention, and I think I am sufficiently decayed. If that is so, sing dairy now, dairy accepted, merry on taste on one. Away we'll go and merrily, merry on totally, terror till the day is done. If that is so, sing dairy now, dairy accepted, merry on taste on one. Away we'll go and merrily, merry on totally, terror till the day is done. Merry now, dairy now, merrily, merry on totally, terror till the day is done.
Marry us at once.
You're married.
Thank you.
Oh, please, would you stop with the wherever I go? Sheesh. Now, we've had a capital luncheon. Have all of the painful preparations been made?
Your Majesty.
Bring forth the prisoner and his two misguided accomplices.
Mercy! Mercy for Coco! Mercy for Pity Sting! Yes, mercy even for Pooh-Bah.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that last bit.
Mercy even for Pooh-Bah.
Mercy! My husband that was to have been is dead, and I have just married this miserable object.
See, well, you've not been long about it.
We were just married by the registrar.
I am the registrar.
The problem is that as you have slain the heir apparent...
Ooh, the heir apparent is not slain.
Oh, bless my heart alive, my son!
Hi, Dad.
Oh, lolly for son!
And I am your daughter-in-law elected.
Please, you do deserve an explanation, but I think he will give it better whole rather than in pieces.
I don't think so.
Your Majesty.
Yes?
It is true that I stated that I killed Nanky Poo.
Yes, with most affecting particulars.
Merely corroborative detail intended to give artistic verisimilitude to a
Will
bald
you
unconvincing...
refrain from putting in your order? Your Majesty, you see, it's like this. When Your Majesty says, let a thing be done,
Anything be done?
it's as good as done.
It is done.
Practically, it is done.
It is practically done.
Because Your Majesty's will is the law.
It is the law.
So, when Your Majesty says, kill a gentleman,
Kill a gentleman.
and a gentleman is told off to be killed,
Told off to be killed.
so that man is as good as dead.
He is dead.
Practically, he is dead.
Practically dead.
If he is dead, then why not say so?
Then what? What? You see? Well. Nothing could possibly be more satisfactory.
For he's gone and married Yum Yum. Your anger pray bury, for all will be merry. I think you had better succumb. And join our expressions of glee.
On this subject, I pray you be dumb. Though your notions are many, they're not worth a penny. The word for your guidance is hum. Give a very good bargain at me.
On this subject we pray you be dumb. We think you had better succumb. You'll find there are many who and for a penny, There are lots of good fish in the sea. There are lots of good fish in the sea. There's lots of good fish in the sea. There's lots of good fish in the sea, in the sea, in the sea, in the sea, in the sea.
The threatening cloud has passed away.
One short long day.
What golden night may come too soon.
With years and years of afternoons.
There's left a throng.
With loving song and merry dance, and let the throng our joy and dance with loving song and merry dance, with loving song and merry dance, with loving song. With joyous shout, bringing to inaugurate their new town. With joyous shout and ringing to, joyous shout and ringing to inaugurate their new town.
With laughing song and merry dance.
With laughing song and merry dance, with song and dance.
Well, you are a terrifically fun and exciting audience. We're glad that we had the opportunity to perform for you. Did you enjoy the program? So all your friends and relatives, you had a great time at the Melodrama tonight. If you didn't have fun tonight, you just keep a little secret on that one. All right? We're going to do the show over and over and over and over again until October 3rd. Then we're going to stop doing the show, change clothes in the set, and do another show called Dracula. It'll be very scary. October 31st is Halloween, of course, and we're going to do a special thing that night. We're going to do, of course, Dracula. That's Sunday night. And after that, we're going to do a swing dance. So, we're going to bring in our terrific band called Chesterfield King and the Sultans of Swing. Terrific horn section, great rhythm section, and a singer. Wow. The tables here are going to disappear, so there'll be plenty of dancing room, and you'll dress up like, anything you'll like to dress up like, and show up there that night. It'll be a terrific evening for all. Also, New Year's Eve is a fabulous time to spend right here. We're doing a special New Year's Eve show. It's kind of a one-of-a-kind show. You can come see that, and I think that's all the commercials I have time for. Listen up. If you feel like you may have had too much to drink, please give the car keys to somebody else and let them drive you home. Because we care about you a lot, all right? So don't do something silly. If you have a problem, just go ahead and ask somebody here in the cast for help. We promise we'll get you a cab, whatever it takes to get you and your car home safely. Okay? Get a season ticket. It's cheaper, and out of all the audiences we've ever had, you've been one of them. Bye.
If you get trash in there, you can tag it and maybe dislodge the trash and start pumping again. So you could try double valving in that case. Right. Yeah. Well, that falls under what I'm saying about the trash. It could be a trash problem. But that, yeah. Anyway, I would make those suggestions about some diagnostics. Well, let's look at sand production as far as pumps for sandy conditions. Or we like to say particulate conditions, because in other parts of the country they have iron sulfide particles that act like sand, and they're very hard too. This is what's called a 3-tube pump. Now, if you ignore this outer tube and imagine the plunger and the rest of the pump over here as the movable part of the pump, you'll see that that plunger running in here is just like a regular bottom hole down pump. The only difference is that plunger fit inside the barrel is 15 thousandths of an inch. So it's a lot of clearance for sand. If you got sand sticking up a regular plunger, this is a good choice. The reason we put the outer barrel on there is it runs right here with 15 thousandths of an inch clearance, so that you increase the slippage path significantly. If you have a long plunger, for instance, it will not slip as much as a shorter plunger, because the slippage length is one of the variables in the slippage equation. So here we've made it to where even though you have 15 thousandths of an inch clearance, the fluid must slip all the way up this barrel and then all the way down the inside of this barrel past the plunger to get to the low pressure side of the pump on the upstroke. And at 10 strokes a minute, it's only got 3 seconds to do that on the upstroke. So this pump has good efficiency, even though it's got 15 thousandths of an inch clearance. And it's called a trash pump. It solves problems with sticking problems with sand or other particulates. It's not used as a long life pump, for maybe if you're looking for 2 or 3 year run, because these components are not hardened. The barrels aren't anyway, the plunger is. And so as they wear, they have a tendency to wear out faster. And we do offer it in a carburized version, carbonitrided version. It does have some hardness, but it's not as hard as some of the other barrels you could purchase. This is a pump that has become quite popular in the last several years. It's called a Pampa tubing pump. It's also available in a bottom hole down insert variety and a top hole down insert variety. I mean a travel barrel insert variety. But this is the one that's been the most popular. We reversed the lengths of the barrel and plunger. Now instead of having a 3-foot plunger, we've got a 3-foot barrel. Instead of having a 26-foot barrel, for instance, we've got a 26-foot plunger. It's very difficult to stick this pump with sand because the plunger on the upstroke, when you have the pressure, is trying to pull the sand away from the top of the barrel. With a common tubing pump like this one, as you start the upstroke and you've got sand particles right here, the pressure is trying to force them down in there between the barrel and plunger. Also, the plunger is running over the sand particles as you go up, crushing them between the barrel and plunger. So we have reversed that situation with this pump. Now as the plunger is going up, you can see it's pulling the particles away from the plunger barrel interface at the top of the barrel, where the pressure is trying to push them between the two. So it's become a very good pump for high particulate laden fluids, and ends up with some very substantial run times also. The barrel length in this case is size for the depth of the well instead of the plunger. Normally we say a foot of plunger per 1,000 foot of depth. Well, in this case we'd say a foot of barrel per 1,000 foot of depth. But normally it's a 3-foot barrel that's used. This is another picture of it that might make it a little bit easier to understand, where you've got the barrel in red and the plunger in green. And you can use a variety of seating assemblies on it. This is the travel barrel version of the Pampa pump. This was the original version of it, where this part is moving and the barrel is stationary. But still, the plunger is stationary. The barrel is still relatively short compared to the plunger. We call these the ultimate stroke-through pump because the plunger is always stroked out of the barrel. A while ago we talked about the problems you have with the bottom hold-down pump and the way that sand can settle here and build up to where you would have a hard time pulling the pump later. This is a bottom discharge valve that installs just above the standing valve between it and the barrel assembly. What it does is discharges about 20% of the fluid out into the annulus here between the inside of the tubing and the outside of the barrel. So it keeps the fluid in motion in here so that the pump is more resistant to sticking. It's harder for sand to settle out there above the hold-down seal assembly. And that's not lost efficiency. It's actually produced fluid. So you don't lose any efficiency when you use a bottom discharge valve. Here it is, that tubing purge check valve I was telling you about earlier. Goes on the bottom of a mud anchor when you've got a gas anchor setup. It's got an upside down ball and seat with a lightly loaded spring. We set that spring to 2 pounds per square inch so that on the downstroke, when you have that slight pressure surge when the standing valve closes, it opens this valve and dumps out a little bit of sand on each downstroke. It's solved a lot of problems with sand building up in the mud anchor when you have a gas separation setup. We're right on the bottom of the gas anchor. Right, we were talking about the problem a while ago where we had this gas separation device and sand would build up in here. And this goes right on the bottom of that assembly. Well, the first time I saw this, I didn't think it would work because you would think that the pressure was equalized down there. But actually what happens is there's a pressure surge when the standing valve closes. And the standing valve, which is above here, closes with a lot of force when the pressure is switched from the traveling valve to the standing valve. And when it does, there's enough force to open this when it's set at 2 psi. Mm-hmm. That's correct. His comment was that it doesn't matter if sand's up there or not, it's still going to open each time due to the pressure. That's correct. Yeah, when I first saw it, I thought it was the weight of the sand that opened it, but that wouldn't be a good idea because the sand would build up and it may not open. It might bridge over. That's been a very effective device. There are quite a few of them being used here in California. Okay, let's take a short break and we'll come back and finish up. Let's get here about 10 minutes until.